Well, good afternoon. My name's Connie. Welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for coming by. And if you've been here before, welcome back. Today I have these items that I'm working with to make for supper tonight. These are things that I have around that need to be used, and I'm just going to throw something together. Again, it's a new recipe that I've never made before, but I think it looks pretty easy, and I think it's one that you would be able to make. So let's get started. So these are the items that I'm working with today. The thing that started this whole ball rolling is I had these tortillas thawed, had been in the drawer for a few days, and I really wanted to use them up. So I decided I was going to make a sheet pan quesadilla with these tortillas. Wanted something different, had never done it before, had seen the recipes a few times. So that was what started this. I'm using ground meat. It is venison that I'm using, but you could use any ground meat that you want. I cut up peppers, onions, garlic, and so I'm putting that all in the frying pan, getting it stirred up and fried together. I am, and you'll see later on in this video, I'm making another recipe where I'm using this meat as the base. So I'm just throwing in some salt and pepper there. So I will divide some of this meat later. So I'm only seasoning it generically at the moment. These ingredients will be good for both recipes. So I'm just throwing it all in, getting it stirred up, and letting it cook down. So I've already divided the meat. I didn't show this part. So for these quesadillas, now I'm adding the other spices, which are like oregano. I added garlic powder. I think I put some onion powder, some cumin, and some taco seasoning. This is homemade, but you use whatever you have on hand or can find. So I'm adding some homemade salsa here, but you again use whatever you have. I probably would have added more, but didn't want to make it too wet. Now this is cream cheese I've put in. Again, the recipe didn't call for this. I just had it in the fridge, half a block, and I needed to use it up. And I thought, well, it won't hurt. It might make it a little creamier, a little nicer. So that went in as well. This is kind of a clean out the fridge recipe, which a lot of my recipes are. You could put spinach in this, you could put all kinds of stuff. This is grated cheese. I think I used mozzarella that day. And actually, it's not grated. I do it in my food processor, not on the grating the grating thing. I do it with the chopper, the S blade in the bottom, and just make it into crumbles. It's quicker, easier to clean up, and I do quite a bit at a time usually. So the second dish is just an egg roll casserole, and here I'm just prepping the cabbage. Okay, so this second recipe I'm doing is just one that I'm just throwing together because I wanted something that is a little more carb friendly. So I'm going to just throw together a simile to the egg roll in a bowl casserole. So I took some of the meat before I added all the seasonings in my other dish. There, I took some of that meat out, put it in here, and because there was more than enough for the other dish. So I just it already has a lot of spices like the salt, the garlic powder, the onion, the peppers. So there's a lot of things already in here. So I'm just going to stir this together A little bit of olive oil. And this won't take long. I sliced the cabbage pretty thin, and I don't like it, I like it to have a little bit of a crunch anyway. So this should go together pretty quick. So I think I'm going to throw together the spices. These are just approximate because I didn't exactly measure the meat or the cabbage or anything. It's just kind of going by eye. And so it calls for half a teaspoon of onion powder. And I'm going to put that in because typically I always add more spice anyway. So onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder. Sure that's close. I need ginger. And I'm just using the ground ginger. I'm going to put 1 teaspoon, maybe 3/4. You can always add more. Now, I like ginger though, so should be okay. That's about 3/4. I said half a cup of soy sauce, but I don't need a half cup. I can always add more after. It's probably about 1/4. Sesame oil, I love. We're gonna go a little crazy with that one. And that's it. And I'm just going to stir it up, stir it all in. I mean, I could put carrot in there. There's already peppers. I'll turn it up a bit just to get it dried up a bit. But this is quick, last minute, wasn't planning on doing this, and so we're just throwing it together. Perfect. I have these 2 dishes together. I'm just going to let the one for the tortilla casserole, I'm going to let it cool a bit more, and then we're going to assemble it. The egg roll in a bowl casserole, it's done. It's ready. I'm going to just let it cool down and I can heat it up later if I want it. So I'll be back when we're ready to put this together. Okay guys, here we go. So I have my sheet here, which is just a regular cookie sheet with the edges. It says we need 8 tortillas, and to start by putting 6 of them down with half of it hanging out over the edge. I'm gonna say that's half. So we're to overlap them, and there will be a gap in the center. Now we're going to take another one and put it in the center to cover this gap. So that's 7. Pull this in a little bit. So that's 7. And now this is where we put our filling in. Okay, so let's start spreading this out. I don't think you want it overly thick, but you don't want it too thin either. I think we got lost. Now, because I'm serving my family and there's varied likes and dislikes, I'm not going to do much else with this. We can add other toppings as we go to eat it, but if it was me, I'd have some chopped tomatoes, I'd have more peppers, and I'd probably have even some fresh onions that hadn't been fried, just so they come out a little bit crunchy. But it's not me. And so What we'll serve this with is like sour cream, anything you would put on a taco. I have avocados. I could make guacamole, but I think I'm just gonna have chopped avocado, salsa, that kind of thing. All right, I think that's pretty even. Don't want to put too much. Okay guys, so now we're going to put one tortilla right in the middle. And then we're going to fold the edges over. Okay, so once my oven's heated, this is going in, but I'm putting another cookie sheet on top. They say if you put a cookie sheet on top, it keeps it closed while it's baking. So we'll see how this turns out. Kind of excited, kind of nervous. So the other thing I'm going to do is spray the top of it so that it's crisp. So here's the finished product. So you can see how it started to open up after you bake it for 20 minutes, and then you take the other cookie sheet off, and you can see where the tortillas start to lift. So it's really important to put that second cookie sheet on, otherwise it's gonna puff up and fly open. So let's cut into it. I think they said 12 pieces, but I'm sorry, there's no way we're going to get 12. So I'm going to do 8. Actually, I think it's going to be easier to take it out of the pan. And I'm going to cut it with my pizza wheel. You're not fighting with the edges. So there we go. That works better. And then one's down the middle. I'll just show you a slice here. So this is what it looks like on your plate. It is nice and crispy on the bottom. And then I will serve this with whatever you would normally put on fajitas or tacos or salsa, sour cream. If I had guacamole, I'd use that, but I do have avocados that I just might chop up and put on. So there we go, guys. There's another experiment accomplished. It looks pretty good. It smells good. Almost supper time, so I will have a bunch of taste testers down here in a bit. So if you like this video, hit subscribe down below, hit the notification bell to get notified anytime I post a video. If you try this recipe, let me know. I'd like to hear your opinion. It's another recipe that you can, personalize and do different things with it and put different ingredients. But anyway, it helped me use up at least one package of the tortillas that I needed to use. And so that's a plus. I may just freeze the other package. Anyway, have a good night.